Hi, my name is Beckett Thomas. I am a junior studying finance and real estate at Purdue, and this is my project too. My project, I built a wealth management portfolio for individual use and for educational purposes. I want to clarify that at the beginning, that this is for educational purposes only, and it is not a complete and should not be taken for financial advice. So let's get into this. Let's go to. So here is our first starting tab. When you come here, you would immediately want to go to Portfolio Builder. Now, this lets you build your own and put in your own available cash to deploy. So we'll start with 100 grand and annual contribution of $10,000 as a base for what we're looking for. There are different risk profiles that you can choose from, where there's an aggressive growth, balanced, and conservative. We're going to stay with balanced for now, just because that fits our needs. There is a universe auto scanner, which gives live recommendations based on your own portfolio, as well as an auto deploy cash to targets button. The universe auto scanner and live recommendations, you can add those manually by yourself for how many shares you would like to buy. Now, for our purposes, I'm going to use the auto deploy cash to targets. This is because it is the easiest way to do this, and it lets the AI figure out what is best suited for your own needs based on your available cash, your risk preference, and your annual contribution. This usually takes around 10 to 30 seconds to choose. Now, it has fully gone through. We see that it is used all but $2,008. So we will scroll down past all the recommended stocks into our portfolio. So we see that I was able to use $97,992 and has estimated dividends of $1,752 based on historical readings, and has secured us 15 positions, meaning 15 stocks within this portfolio. Now, these are all valued around the same because of how it is set up in the beginning. So we see our tree map for our holdings for now, and we can see that they are all pretty much equal with a pretty even diversification score of 74. And we have a target sector and target portfolio diversification here based on Warren Buffett's own portfolio and that of Berkshire Hathaway's. We see that we were able to get close to, but not all of the sectors that we liked, just because of the 15 stocks that were added auto by our generator. We can then calculate our efficient frontier and optimal weights based on our portfolio and based on historical data. This also uses the Sharpe ratio as its for tangencies in the risk-free rate of 4.3%, which is based on the current 10-year Treasury bond. Now we see that we get two options, a minimum variance portfolio and a tangency portfolio. We see now that because I have chosen my sector, we see what in my own personal risk tolerance, I personally would choose the minimum variance portfolio. But again, this is not financial advice in any way. We see what the optimal weights would be within those parameters that we have set and within the efficient frontier calculations. So we can then apply those tangency weights. So let's start with the minimum variance portfolio. Now we can see that our current tangency portfolio and our own portfolio, its diversification, is heavy in the consumer staples. That is likely because of our efficient frontier and that individual firms' Sharpe ratios in comparison to our portfolios. We see now that we have a diversification score of 50 because our portfolio has changed. And we are no longer invested in American Express, Apple Incorporated, or MasterCard. So as we scroll down, we can see our different dividend income positions and our position projections. This is the assumed price returned according to our ratio. And we see how each investment is expected to pay out, so to speak, over the next 5, 10, 20, and 30 years. We see our current value, our projected in 5 years, 10 years, and 30 years. We can then go into our portfolio manager, or portfolio projections, excuse me, and set our own horizon and contribution growths for a year. So let's change this to the 10,000 as well, because that's what we have on our portfolio builder. That's what we have, or if we have play. Our dynamic returns are that of the Sharpe ratio and are calculated through that. So we have a portfolio Sharpe ratio of 0.74, a 12.9 portfolio historical return based on past performances, and risk-adjusted expected return of 9.59. We can see how our stocks grow and our portfolio grows to give different returns over the next few years. And I feel pretty comfortable within that data. We can also see our milestone projections and investment horizons as bar graphs, if that is something you're more comfortable seeing, or just per stock projection details. You can also run a individual DCF analysis on each one of these stocks to give a more accurate and intrinsic value, but because of the API and our own technological and AI capabilities, it isn't able to do that as individualized for the overview, as it would take many minutes to do that on its own. Now, if we were to go back to our portfolio builder and change our, let's go here, and change our preference from the minimum variance portfolio to the tangency portfolio. Tangency weights. And we can see that our diversification has changed. We are now more into pharma and biotech growth with a 56 diversification score and a 0.59 beta. We are now only invested in 9 stocks, as we can see here, with a seems like higher yield. Our holding tree map has also changed, and we can see that our invested value as well has changed. So going to our portfolio projections, we can go back through and see a portfolio Sharpe ratio of 1.04 with a 17.88 portfolio historical returns for year over year and a risk-adjusted expected returns of 17.88 as well. Our current value at 99,449 in our 30-year projection at 43 million, which, knowing our compounding growth with annual contributions as well, this is to be expected. We also have our per stock projection details and dividend income breakdown, which also would be reinvested on top of the 10% or the $10,000, excuse me. As we could also go into our code itself. So I will stop presenting this and go into some of the nitty-gritty details. All right, let's go to screen and project on anti-gravity. So we use anti-gravity in collaboration with Gemini and Claude. And we have created around, as you can see here, 4,124 lines of active code. This is between the models, data retrieving, and our own API keys. Our app is what takes up the majority of it because it has different watch lists and views that it would like to go through. So I would say that would be the end of my presentation. And I would like to thank you for watching, and remember that this is, in fact, not advice or financial advice, and this is for educational purposes only. Thank you.